Hi Gandhi class, welcome to your third maths lesson this week. And in today's session, we are going to be recognising a third. So our learning objective for this lesson is, can I recognise a third? In today's lesson, we will be recapping our learning from year 2 so that we are able to apply your understanding of fractions to recognise a third, and to use and apply reasoning and solve problems when recognising a third as a fraction. But before we begin, please get yourself a whiteboard and a whiteboard pen and complete the 4 questions on the screen. Pause the video to do that now and press play when you're ready to go through the answers. Okay, so the first question says you needed to complete the statement below using less than, more than, or equal to. So you've got 365, you had a blank, and then 356. And you should have put in more than. So 365 is more than 356. Give yourself a tick if you got that correct. Question 2, what number is the arrow pointing to? If you had a look, you could see that the number line was going up in in hundreds, and you should have put 800. If you've got 1,000 here and 0 here, it would be going up in 100. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. So give yourself a tick if you put 800. Question 3, you needed to write the number represented in digits. So you had 4 circles with 100 in and 4 circles with 10 in. And your answer should be 440. Give yourself a tick if you got that correct. And the last question, how many hours are in a day? Give yourself a tick if you put 24. Okay, we need to complete the sentences below. We've got a pizza here and it's been split into how many equal parts? Pause the video to have a think. Well done if you said 3. We've got 1, 2, 3 equal parts. That means each part is worth what? Well done, it's worth a third. And this can also be written as 1 over 3. Okay, on your whiteboard, I want you to draw these shapes below, and you need to shade in 1/3 of each shape. So pause the video here to draw each of these shapes and shade in a third. Well done if you had something like this picture below. So with your circle, you should have just shaded in one of the parts. It's been split into 3 equal parts and you just needed to shade in one of them. Same with this square here and the same with this one as well. So you just needed to shade in one part of them to show a third. Which shapes represent 1/3? Write the letter on your whiteboard. So you've got A, B, C, and D. Which ones represent a third? And then you need to explain why the other shapes do not represent a third. So pause the video to have a go at doing that now. Okay, A does not represent a third because it's been split into 6 equal parts with 1 part shaded, so it does not represent a third. B does also not represent a third because it's been split into 4 equal parts with 1 part shaded. C does represent a third. It's been split into 3 equal parts and 1 part has been shaded. And this is the same for D as well, which also represents 1/3. So well done if you put down C and D and then explained why A and B did not represent a third. Okay, so we've got a maths astronaut here and he has said, if I have 1/3 of a pizza because I have one slice and there are 3 slices left? Do you agree? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw this out. So he's already said he's got 1/3 of the pizza. So let's draw his pizza here. And he said he's had one slice of it. So he's got one slice of it. However, there are 3 slices left. Now we know that 1 add 3 is 4, which means that actually his pizza has been split into a quarter and he has eaten 1/4 of it. So the mathstronaut is incorrect because he has had 1/4 of the pizza because there are 4 slices altogether and he has had one of them. There would need to be 3 slices altogether for him to have had a third, but there were 4 slices. And we know this because he has said he had one slice and that there were 3 slices left. 3 add 1 gives us 4. So therefore, he has split his pizza into quarters. Okay, now it's your turn. Choose between activity 1, 2, or 3, and then you can challenge yourself further with the challenge questions. Okay, so activity number 1. You need to write the letters of these shapes that have been split into thirds. So you need to write down just the letters of the shapes split into thirds. That's part 1. And then part 2, you need to write the letters of the shapes that have 1/3 shaded. Pause here if you are completing activity number 1. Okay, activity number 2. You need to match the shaded part of each image to the correct letter. So let's have a look at 1. Match the shaded part of each image to the correct letter. So you've got 1 here and you've got A, B, C, and D. You've got to have a look at the shape and match it to either a third or not a third. Then you've got to do the same for question 2, A, B, C, and D. You've got to tell me whether or not it shows a third or if it's not a third. Pause the video here if you are going to be completing this activity. Okay, activity number 3. You need to draw the shapes and leave 1/3 of each shape unshaded. Can you find 4 different ways? So you've got to do that for A and then for B. So pause the video here if you are completing activity number 3. Okay, and finally the challenge question. So Sue, Gina, and Asha show a piece of each ribbon. Sue is showing 1/4 of her ribbon. Gina is showing 1/2 of her ribbon, and Asha is showing 1/3 of her ribbon. Whose whole ribbon is the longest and whose is the shortest? Explain why. So you need to tell me whose is the longest, then use our magical word because and explain why it is that, and then do the same for the shortest. Next one, Dom asks, is 1/3 of 27 greater than 1/4 of 36? Explain how you know. So you'd either say, yes, it is greater than, or no, it's not greater than, because. Okay, Kat says, if a shape has been split into 18 parts, I would need to shade in 3 to show 1/3. Is Kat correct? Explain your answer and show this on a diagram. So you need to draw it out. And the last question, how many cubes need to be circled to represent 1/3? Show this. Please make sure you upload your work to Tapestry Gandhi class, and I will see you next time. Bye.